that we're all experiencing. And how do we come together to come up with a solution to that together? And that is what I feel my soul's mission, soul's purpose is to create content that gets into that. Not just the little pieces, not just what we think of climate change or belief systems or meditation, but the big picture. The big picture, the main core that connects all of us. And those things those are the things that I'm really focusing on, and to take a broader stance. So there's no one left behind. There's no one that can argue with me, well, that's not important, right? Like what's one thing that we all share, right? We all have the same emotions, not in the same way, but we experience love or know of love. Hate, sadness, joy, right? All of these exist together. So how do we tap into that and then tap into those deep, deep, deep intentions that we all want to live a better life? And that is what I feel that I hope that my work expresses in the world to help get people connected and into that deeper purpose of humanity.
Hi, my name is Zenka Caro. I'm founder of LightNet, and my passion and purpose is to remove the word impossible from our minds. I am here with Emmy Award-winning TV producer Melissa Tittl. She has often said that in her whole life, she has looked to create stories that provoke us to question our everyday life. She is the CEO and founder of Hathor Films, and she's been telling stories like Ancient Aliens, Code 12, Ancient Civilizations, and her new project, Source, a film about Joe Dispenza's life and work. She is an incredible person that is taking our collective yearnings to a whole new level.
I believe my soul's purpose is to help build the new zeitgeist, to create those new nodes of consciousness, to influence in a positive way, an inspiring way, our collective consciousness, and through the medium of telling stories. And I feel like that has always been my mission ever since I was a kid. I haven't gone off in too far of that path, because it wasn't just about telling stories or making movies or TV shows or making a living at doing that. It was, how do I make something that allows people to think outside the box, that allows people to think and that allows people to sit and think, wow, I never thought of that before. Because if I've done that, then what I've done is I've ignited something in themselves they didn't know existed. And if that happens, then we are changing that zeitgeist. We are changing that collective consciousness. It's not just about one facet of that collective consciousness. It's about how we think about ourselves and how we reflect that out into the world. When we think of the idea of a collective consciousness or a morphogenic field, we think in our heads, how does that all get connected together? And in mine, I think of nodes, almost like the planet has a set amount of nodes around it and they all communicate with each other. I don't know if that's true or not, but in my head, I think that way. And when I think about what all of those are made of, they're in different areas where people are feeling and expressing and living a different kind of life. And each of those bands interfere with us, whether we know it or not. We could be over here in America dealing with all the things that we're dealing with, and people in Lebanon are dealing with something completely different, but those bands connect together. And in a way, we have a subtle energy that all communicates with each other. So how do we change that? We change that by influencing those nodes or those areas in a specific way to change the energy of the people. Now, they've done many tests on this. Lynn McTaggart specifically has done some tests. There's many people that have done community meditations or intentions, and they've changed the field. They were able to measure that. And so when I think of my soul's mission, I think in my head of those nodes and those people living through those different experiences. And you can't come in there and say, well, because I've lived this experience, I must be right and I want to influence you to have a better life. What's the one thing that we can relate on and or several things that we can all relate on, that we're all experiencing. And how do we come together to come up with a solution to that together? And that is what I feel my soul's mission, soul's purpose is to create content that gets into that. Not just the little pieces, not just what we think of climate change or belief systems or meditation, but the big picture. The big picture, the main core that connects all of us. And those things those are the things that I'm really focusing on, and to take a broader stance. So there's no one left behind. There's no one that can argue with me, well, that's not important, right? Like what's one thing that we all share, right? We all have the same emotions, not in the same way, but we experience love or know of love. Hate, sadness, joy, right? All of these exist together. So how do we tap into that and then tap into those deep, deep, deep intentions that we all want to live a better life? And that is what I feel that I hope that my work expresses in the world, to help get people connected and into that deeper purpose of humanity. So I've been writing shows in this kind of alternative field for a long time. I've done everything from reality shows to ancient aliens and paranormal stuff and alien stuff and meditation stuff and human potential stuff, and the list goes on. And there was a moment, and I was taking note along the way, but there was a moment where I felt that there was something we were missing. That we were all kind of focusing in the same direction. It didn't matter if it was meditation or human potential or aliens or ancient civilizations, ancient Egypt. We were all talking about the same thing, which is interesting. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just felt like there was something missing. And when I started to put pieces together of a connection that connected all of the sciences, that connected the ancient Egypt, the ancient cultures, ancient spirituality, sacred geometry, quantum physics, biology. When I started to piece together that, I thought this would be a good story to tell because it connects everybody in the same vein. It's respecting everybody's research, but it's that the mystery is not how each of those sectors finds something really interesting and out there, but more how they're all connected and how they have a bigger message. And that was just, I think that finally happened about 3 years ago, where I was like, okay, wait, there's a way that all of these things communicate with each other. We're just looking at it in one direction, and we're all arguing about our little silos, and we're not looking at the fact that they're all part of that big field, that big universal eternal understanding. Biggest struggle I faced living out my purpose was I kind of felt alone. A lot of my friends are not necessarily deep into the space. So I couldn't have these really deep conversations with them. And then I would meet people that I'd have these really deep conversations with, and then it felt like we were arguing about our points, and then that wasn't any fun. So it felt like, I think the hardest thing was taking a lot of time alone to contemplate how I really felt about it. And being a social person, I think that was really hard for me. That was really hard for me to feel disconnected, even though what I was doing was about connecting everybody. I think that dips in and out of my career, out of my life, feeling isolated, even though the purpose is to connect people at a deeper level. And that's really hard. It's really hard, finding that balance and being okay with that. My advice for anybody trying to figure out what their soul's mission is, I guess, do that thing that, was hard for me, which was spend more time in nature, spend more time by yourself, figure out what really drives you. Are you driven to do that because it's going to get you more money, it's going to get you some kind of status, and then you're going to get something from that, and then eventually you'll have more freedom? Or are you doing something because deep inside it feels like freedom? And what does freedom feel like? That moment where you feel safe, or you're at home, or you're like a little kid again. There's that little feeling that you have. When you feel that, you know that you've tapped into something, and you might feel it at the strangest times. And when you do, you're thinking, okay, well, I can't run a flower store. This doesn't make any sense, right? Why am I getting so excited about this? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if you're running for president, or you're taking down the Illuminati. It doesn't matter what the purpose is. It could be something really simple, but it's needed. And by you doing it with your heart, you're connecting with people, and you're part of that big field. Your existence, no matter what you feel your soul's purpose in those little moments when you feel that, is so important, because you're connecting with people with your heart. I think it's really scary to try to find your soul's purpose. I mean, everything around us, even if you do a lot of work on yourself, is telling you to be something, to buy something. If you have all of this, if you have these people in your life, if you have those mala beads, you're going to be someone, and then you're going to feel better about yourself. And when you're doing a lot of work on yourself, you're constantly dipping in and out of it. It's not important. It's important. It's not important. It's important, right? And it's really hard. It's a hard journey. I mean, I had a shaman tell me once. He said, look, you could do the work. He's like, everybody does the work. But the thing is, it's not to get rid of all the things that are causing you suffering. It's for you faster to realize that it is suffering, so that you can switch back into who you really are. So we never avoid suffering. We never avoid this hard place of trying not to suffer, right? So people that are so looking for your soul's purpose is hard, because it's so much work, and there's a lot in this world that people are dealing with, and so there's a lot of people not taking the time to be like, okay, wait, maybe I got to change something here to get to that place that I would actually be happy. I remember being a kid, and I think I was 9, 10, and we lived in Wisconsin, and it's cold. And I remember thinking, not being anywhere else in the world, why would adults choose to live here? It's really cold. It's freezing. I didn't even understand it, but I had never been anywhere else. And I also, I was taking a lot of journal notes. I loved writing in my journal. And this is as a really young girl, you're really observant of your parents and other adults and other kids, and you're kind of taking it all in. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, this is what I have to look forward to, this adultness that seemed like everybody was sort of slightly miserable. And I think as an early age, I thought there's got to be something else. Now, I didn't know anything about any of the stuff that a lot of you listening to this are going to talk about. But at an early age, I had this feeling I know there's more than just this. There's got to be. Otherwise, why would we keep doing it? Another moment, I think, if you have thoughts like these, they don't go away. Even when you just try to fit in. You're just that's a great thought. I'm going to keep doing the thing that everybody else is doing because it's easier, and I have friends and I'm doing things. So good. There was another moment. I was living in LA, and I think I was in my 20s, and I was sitting out back of the house that we had, and I was looking up at the sky. And we were in the valley, so you could actually see some of the stars, and there's, planes and stuff flying over and everything. And there's a bunch of people in the house. And I remember thinking, there's so much out there I don't know. And, people are like, come back in the house, we're doing shots and stuff. And I thought, I want to be in a place where I can expand. I had all these feelings. I was like, I don't know what it is. There's just, I want to discover more. I want to go deeper. I want to figure more things out. This can't be all that there is. And those moments just kept happening. Every time that I spent too much time being normal, I'd have another moment where I'm like, God, there's just so much out there. I must know. I don't know what kind of effect I've had on people. I hope it's good, but I'm also, unfortunately, in my own silo. I hope that people watch. I hope that people are able to watch the stuff that I create and feel something inside. They're able to feel something that they hadn't felt before about themselves. But I don't necessarily know. I'd love to know. If everybody was in their purpose, people would not be making decisions based on fear. To get to your purpose, you cannot be afraid. You cannot be afraid of who you are. You can't be afraid of what your neighbor's doing. You can't be afraid of what people are going to think of you. You can't be afraid. And most of the decisions people are making are out of fear. And if we take that away, because everybody miraculously is living their life's purpose, people are communicating in a way that is not about, I'm going to get something. It's more about, how can I help you? It's a cooperation, because everybody is in their expression mode from their heart, and they're not doing it out of fear. And that kind of world, to be honest with you, I don't even know if I could imagine it, but it's just it's so far beyond what we experience on this third dimensional level, that what that could be would be absolutely amazing if we could get there.
Are you looking to begin your life of passion and purpose? We are waiting for you with our groups of 8 to 12. These loving teams are formed to look over our success data to find the fastest and funnest and most direct way for you to find your purpose and calling in life. To find out more, go to holomovement.net/purpose.